Welcome to the Leadership Secrets Podcast, where we bring you no BS, practical advice from the experts that are doing it. Now, here's your host, Lee Lisenby.
Number one. That's right. Podcast one. This is it. This is the podcast I've been waiting many years to do. So this is a leadership podcast. You noticed that because of the title. Mike, I'm not very versed at this thing yet. I'm on the right setting yet. Okay. So this podcast is going to be about multiple things, but mostly going to be about leadership and what we're doing about leadership. I'm in the Maxwell Leadership Academy right now. I've learned a ton. One of the things I've learned, I think the biggest thing that stuck with me is John Maxwell's, he has a saying, he says, everything rises and falls on leadership. So very true. Everything does. And yet we don't realize it. We go about our days, we deal with process improvement, we deal with safety, quality, we deal with management tactics. You name the program of the month. We do those things all the time in our companies. And we talk about leadership, but we don't invest in leadership. I'm setting out to change that. I think we should be investing in leadership, and that's what I'm trying. I'm going to turn this mic around. I think it's the wrong direction. Can you hear me better now? Okay, we're getting through some of the technical difficulties here on this first podcast. So what you're going to see on this podcast, you're going to see multiple people come in, a variety of leaders from different industries. We're going to interview them. We're going to ask them tough questions. We're going to try to find out why people don't focus more on leadership. Why the companies in the U.S. especially want to look at different management techniques to solve their problems, or they're trying to solve their problems with a software program they bought, a business intelligence program, or Excel spreadsheets even. I see this all the time. And I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. So I have a guest lined up for next week, and we're going to ask him some tough questions. And this guest was an employee of mine at one point, and he's gone on to do bigger and better things. So we'll see how good of a job I did at developing him as a leader. So yesterday was the 4th of July. I hope you had a safe and healthy and fun 4th, celebrating our independence. And we got to work on time this morning after a long night. I know it was tough on me getting in bed and getting up and doing my morning routine. Looking at a couple of things from last week on the 4th, in my company, I decided to do something a little bit different with my employees. From time to time, we'll buy them lunch. Would hand over a company credit card and tell the foreman to go grab enough lunch for the entire team. My team is around 160 employees, so it's a pretty large team. And I decided I'm going to do a cookout. I want to practice servant leadership, which I talk about a lot. I've written about servant leadership, but I don't know if I ever actually did it in that regard. I mean, I have in other ways, but not serving people, like actually serving people. I know that's not the definition of servant leadership, but I just thought there was more, there'd be better received and help the culture if I were actually to go put all this together, get the food, get a grill, cook some hamburgers and hot dogs for my team. I did have some vegetarian options as well. And I did that. I put that together, and it was a a major overtaking because I have 4 shifts, and it's one thing to do it on one shift. One cookout wouldn't be that big of a deal, but you got to do them 4, and grant you 2 of them are at night. So it's something that no one's ever done at this company. This company is 40-something years old. And my boss even said this, like, I've been here for 35 years. I've never seen anyone do this. Like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to try it. I mean, worst case scenario, it's a failure, but you make a couple people happy. I mean, that's all it's all about. You're not trying to make everyone happy. I don't think you can, and you shouldn't be doing that. So I did it, and it was successful. But the problem happened, I guess if you call it a problem, is that the other employees felt left out. So I was only going to do it for my employees. Well, there's 500 employees at my company, and around 160 are in my group. So I had to shift gears because I had a little bit of a talking to by an HR employee about it, not including the rest of the employees of the company. So on my 3rd cookout, so I've already had 2, had a day shift and a night shift the first part of the week. On the next day shift, which was a Thursday, I invited everybody. I put out a site-wide email, said everyone's invited. So I had a quadruple, basically, my order. My Sam's and Costco was getting really fond of me last week. I'll tell you this story just because it worked so well. I was surprised by how well the employees received this cookout. When we buy them dinner or lunch, we don't really get that. We don't get many thank yous, really any thank yous, because it's not something we're doing. The only thing we're actually doing is handing our credit card to a foreman and doing the allocations on the credit card at the end of the month. We're not really doing much anything else. Is it a good gesture? Probably. Yeah, it is. But I mean, I put in a lot of work last week on this cookout. So I called it the 4th of July Employee Appreciation Cookout. It went really well. I highly recommend, as a leader, whether you know how to grill, whether you are a grill master or never done it before, I recommend you become a cook of some sort. I mean, you could probably bring in some dishes that you made from your house or do something like that as well. But it went well, and you don't even have to do the cooking. And in fact, I found myself not doing the cooking. I got everything ready, everything prepared. I brought it all in, hauled it in, everything set up, had to help getting set up. And people just show up to cook. People wanted to help. People were really inspired by this cookout. So it made my job easier during the actual cooking of it. I had a lot of volunteers. So if you're afraid if you're not a good cook, don't worry about that. You're going to have people there that will probably step in and save you from burning yourself or the food. Well, servant leadership, I'm going to be talking a lot about servant leadership. I'm a huge fan of it, and I think more and more leaders should be a fan of it. I want to talk about some problems I've had in my career in this podcast. I'm going to talk about some problems that I see leaders, whether in my company or elsewhere, are having. I'm going to talk about the successes. What are people doing right? And there's a lot of good leaders doing a lot of good things out there. So we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to make this fun and exciting. I'm going to probably be bringing in some current events, some news of the day type stuff in this podcast, but get ready. This is going to be an exciting podcast. I'm excited you're listening. I look forward to your continued viewership. This is going to be not only on podcast, but it's going to be on YouTube as well. Probably going to have some LinkedIn episodes off these podcasts. So I hope you follow me. Thanks for listening, and let's lead some people. Get after it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership Secrets Podcast. Please join us next time as we bring you more leadership secrets from the people who are actually doing it. See you soon.